There's a money-making principle so universal that it works in New York, Nigeria, Norway, and literally every country with any form of economy, yet 99% of people never realize it exists. It doesn't require special skills, huge capital, or even speaking the local language perfectly. I've watched people use this exact method to go from broke to wealthy in America, seen it work in developing countries, and verified it works in the richest nations on Earth. Today, I'm exposing this universal money trick that nobody talks about because it's so obvious once you see it that you'll be angry you didn't figure it out yourself. What's up, everyone? Ryan here from Ryan Invest, and today I'm revealing the one money principle that transcends borders, currencies, and economic systems. This isn't about drop shipping, crypto, or some platform that only works in certain countries. This is about a fundamental economic truth that's been making people rich for thousands of years and will continue working as long as humans exist. If you're tired of money advice that only works if you live in America or have a US bank account, subscribe right now because this works whether you're in Mumbai or Manhattan. And smash that like button because this information should be taught in every school but isn't. Let me start by telling you what this trick is. Finding expensive problems and solving them for less money than people currently pay. That's it. Every successful business, every wealthy person, every economic transaction is just this principle in different forms. But nobody sees it because we're trained to think about jobs and salaries instead of problems and solutions. Here's why this works in every country. Every human society has problems that cost money to solve. Dirty clothes need cleaning. Food needs cooking. Things need moving. Information needs organizing. People need entertaining. These problems exist whether you're in Switzerland or Somalia. The only difference is the specific problems and price points, but the principle remains identical. Let me give you real examples from different countries to prove this works everywhere. In India, there's a massive problem with last-mile delivery in crowded cities. Dabawalas in Mumbai solved this by delivering home-cooked lunches to office workers for about $10 per month. They make good money because they solve an expensive problem, eating out for lunch every day, with a cheaper solution. This exact model is being replicated globally with food delivery services. In Germany, there's a problem with bureaucracy and paperwork. Everything requires forms, applications, and perfect German. People who speak German and understand the system charge 50 to 100 euros to help foreigners navigate basic bureaucratic tasks that take an hour. They're solving expensive problems, potentially being denied services or paying fines for less than those problems cost. In Kenya, M-Pesa became huge by solving the expensive problem of banking for people without bank accounts. Sending money used to require traveling to cities or paying huge fees. M-Pesa made it cheap and instant via phones. They didn't invent anything new, they just solved an expensive problem cheaper than the existing solution. The beauty of this principle is it scales from zero capital to billions. With no money, you can solve problems using time and effort. With some money, you can solve bigger problems with tools and systems. With lots of money, you can solve massive problems with technology and teams. But the principle never changes. Find expensive problems, solve them cheaper. Here's how to identify these opportunities in any country. Look for complaints. Every complaint is an expensive problem someone would pay to solve. Traffic is terrible. Expensive problem. Healthy food is hard to find. Expensive problem. Childcare is impossible. Expensive problem. These exist everywhere, just in different forms. Next, look for inefficiency. Anytime someone says, "I wish there was a better way to do," you found an opportunity. Anytime you see people wasting time or money on bad solutions, you found an opportunity. Anytime you hear, "That's just how it's done here," you found an opportunity to do it better. The key is understanding the local version of universal problems. Every culture needs food, but what they eat differs. Every culture needs transportation, but how they travel differs. Every culture needs entertainment, but what they enjoy differs. The problem is universal, the solution is local. Let me break down specific universal problems that exist everywhere. Time shortage. Everyone everywhere wishes they had more time. Anything that saves time can make money. Information gap. People everywhere need information they don't have. Providing the right information at the right time makes money. Skill gap. People everywhere need skills they don't possess. Having skills others need makes money. Convenience gap. People everywhere prefer easy over difficult. Making things easier makes money. Status gap. People everywhere want to look good to others. Helping them look better makes money. Here's a concrete example anyone can execute anywhere. Identify small businesses in your area that have no online presence. Offer to create simple Google My Business profiles, Facebook pages, or basic websites for them. The problem? They're losing customers to competitors who show up online. The expensive solution, hiring a marketing agency for thousands. Your solution, basic online presence for a few hundred. This works in Tokyo, Toronto, or Tanzania because small businesses exist everywhere and the internet is global. Another universal example is organizing. People everywhere accumulate stuff and lose control of their space. Professional organizing is expensive. You can offer basic organizing services for less than professional rates, but more than nothing. Sort closets, arrange kitchens, organize offices. The problem exists in every country where people have possessions, which is everywhere. The language teaching arbitrage works globally. Whatever languages are valuable in your country, someone needs to learn them. English in non-English countries, Mandarin in business hubs, Spanish in the Americas, local languages for expats and immigrants. The expensive problem is formal language schools. The cheaper solution is conversational practice with native speakers. The key insight is that value is relative to local economics. What's expensive in one country might be cheap in another, but within each economy, the principle holds. In Switzerland, solving a problem for 50 francs that usually costs 100 francs makes you money. In Vietnam, solving a problem for 50,000 dong that usually costs 100,000 dong makes you money. The numbers change, the principle doesn't. Here's how to find your first opportunity. Walk around your area for 1 hour and count problems. Litter? Problem. Long lines? Problem. Confused tourists? Problem. Broken things? Problem. Inefficient systems? Problem. Write down 20 problems you observe. Then ask, what do people currently pay to solve this? How could I solve it for less? The axiom always works the same way. Current solution cost minus your solution cost equals your profit margin. If people pay $100 to solve a problem and you can solve it for $60, you make $40. Do that 10 times and you've made $400. Do it 100 times and you've made $4,000. Scale it with systems and you're wealthy. This principle explains every successful business. Amazon solved expensive shopping problems, driving to stores, limited selection, cheaper with online delivery. Uber solved expensive transportation problems cheaper than taxis. Airbnb solved expensive accommodation problems cheaper than hotels. They didn't invent new needs, they solved existing expensive problems cheaper. But you don't need to build the next Amazon. You can solve expensive problems in your neighborhood and make good money. The person who walks dogs solves the expensive problem of pet guilt for busy professionals. The person who meal preps solves the expensive problem of eating healthy with no time. The person who tutors kids solves the expensive problem of bad grades. The universal nature of this principle means you can move countries and immediately apply it. I've seen immigrants succeed faster than locals because they see inefficiencies that locals accept as normal. Fresh eyes spot expensive problems that everyone else ignores. This is why immigrants often become successful entrepreneurs because they see opportunities locals miss. Here's the step-by-step process. Step 1, identify an expensive problem people complain about. Step 2, figure out what they currently pay to solve it. Money, time, or suffering. Step 3, design a solution that costs less than the current option. Step 4, test with one customer to prove it works. Step 5, refine based on feedback. Step 6, scale by finding more people with the same problem. The scaling is where this gets powerful. Solve one person's expensive problem and you make a little money. Solve the same problem for 100 people and you're doing well. Solve it for thousands and you're wealthy. Solve it for millions and you're rich. The problem-solving principle scales infinitely. This works in poor countries and rich countries for different reasons. In poor countries, there are more unsolved problems because people couldn't afford solutions before. In rich countries, people will pay more for convenience and time saving. Both create opportunities, just different types. The digital version of this principle is even more powerful. Create a solution once and sell it infinitely. Write a guide solving an expensive problem, sell it forever. Build an app solving an expensive problem, sell it globally. Create a course solving an expensive problem, sell it repeatedly. Digital solutions to expensive problems can reach anyone, anywhere. But even physical local services work with this principle. The key is starting with one expensive problem you can solve today with what you have. Not next month when you have money, not next year when you have skills. Today with whatever you currently possess. Let me show you exactly how regular people are using this principle right now in different countries. In Mexico, there's a guy who noticed restaurants throw away day-old bread that's still perfectly good. The expensive problem: people need affordable food. His solution? He collects the bread for free and sells it at 70% off retail. He makes $200 per day solving an expensive problem with literal waste. This exact model works anywhere food waste exists, which is everywhere. In Japan, there's a massive problem with elderly people needing help with technology. Young people charge $30 to $50 per hour just to help seniors use smartphones, set up video calls with grandchildren, or shop online. The expensive problem is isolation and inability to use modern tools. The cheap solution is patient young people with basic tech knowledge. This opportunity exists in every country with aging populations. In Brazil, traffic is so bad that people waste hours commuting. Someone started a motorcycle delivery service for documents that need physical signatures. Companies pay $50 to $100 to have documents delivered same day instead of sending employees through traffic. The expensive problem is lost productivity. The cheap solution is motorcycles weaving through traffic. Similar services exist in Bangkok, Lagos, Jakarta, anywhere traffic is terrible. The reason nobody talks about this principle is because it's too simple for complicated business books and too universal for local gurus to package and sell. But every wealthy person intuitively understands it. They look for expensive problems and become the cheaper solution. Once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. Here's how to apply this principle with zero starting capital. Identify problems people solve with time because they can't afford the money solution. House cleaning, grocery shopping, waiting in lines, basic repairs. These are all problems people would pay to avoid if the price was right. You become the affordable solution by doing what they don't want to do. I knew someone in Poland who built a business by standing in government office lines for busy people. The expensive problem: taking a day off work to handle bureaucracy. The solution? Pay him $40 to stand in line with your documents. He serves multiple clients per day since he can handle multiple documents per trip. He's making $200 per day solving an expensive problem that exists because of inefficient government systems. The universal application goes beyond services. Every country has information gaps that create expensive problems. In Thailand, foreigners don't know how to find legitimate apartments and get scammed by tourist prices. Someone created a simple website listing real local rental prices and charges foreigners $50 for access. The expensive problem is paying double for housing. The cheap solution is accurate information. This principle even works in creative fields. Every culture has stories they want told, music they want heard, art they want created. The expensive problem is mainstream media that doesn't represent them. The cheap solution is independent creators who understand the culture. YouTubers, musicians, artists, they're all solving the expensive problem of representation and entertainment for less than traditional media. Here's the framework for finding opportunities in your specific location. First, identify the 3 biggest complaints in your community: housing, transportation, food. Second, research what people currently spend to deal with these problems. Third, find the gap between the expensive solution and no solution. Fourth, position yourself in that gap with an affordable option. The pricing strategy is universal. Charge more than your cost, but less than the current solution. If taxis cost $30 and walking is free, charging $15 for a ride makes you money. If restaurants cost $20 and cooking at home costs $5, selling meals for $10 makes you money. You don't need to be the cheapest, just cheaper than the expensive option. Let me tell you about the information arbitrage that works globally. Every country has information that locals know, but outsiders don't. Package that information and sell it to outsiders. An American in Thailand selling guides to digital nomads. A Nigerian in London helping other Nigerians navigate the UK system. A Chinese person in Canada helping Chinese students find housing. The expensive problem is making mistakes from lack of information. The cheap solution is learning from someone who knows. Your success depends on one thing. Will you see expensive problems as opportunities or obstacles? Wealthy people see opportunities. Poor people see obstacles. The same expensive problem that makes one person complain makes another person rich. The only difference is perspective and action. If this video just revealed the universal principle that creates all wealth, subscribe to Ryan Invest immediately. We're exposing the simple truth that work everywhere while others promote complicated strategies that work nowhere. Hit the notification bell and comment below with the expensive problem you're going to solve first. Next week, I'm showing you how to turn any skill you already have into a $5,000 per month income stream. You already have valuable skills. You just don't know how to monetize them. Until then, stop looking for jobs and start looking for expensive problems. Every problem you see is potential profit waiting for someone smart enough to solve it. That someone might as well be you. Peace out, and remember, money doesn't come from working hard. It comes from solving expensive problems efficiently.